Hi, this is Wally Kern with Supreme Gecko. Hey, I heard you wanted to see some leopard geckos. Well, today's show and tell, and I'm going to show you some beautiful adults and some babies from this last year. By the way, do you know what morph this is? Let me know if you know the morph and leave a comment down below in the comments. Hey, I heard that you subscribed to the Supreme Gecko channel, but you haven't hit notify all yet. I caught you. Go ahead and hit notify all, and you'll receive these video updates when they come out. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. This video is going to be a show and tell, but it also is going to get into the history of Supreme Gecko and what we've done with leopard geckos over the years. We actually started with chameleons many years ago, about 20 years ago, but it was shortly after that, our second year, we started keeping leopard geckos. We started with a pair, Samson and Delilah. We started producing babies and we were hooked immediately. It was soon after that, the year after, that we started really concentrating on leopard geckos. There were a lot of websites, a lot of vendors, a lot of breeders that we visited. One was Craig Stewart from Urban Gecko. Another was Albie Scholl from Too Cool Geckos. We bought some geckos from Jason Haygood of Gecko Genetics. One of our favorite breeders was Kelly Hammock of Hiss, H-I-S-S. And we also purchased some geckos from Garrett DeMeyer of CrestedGeckos.com. In the beginning, we focused on carrot-tails, trumpers, the trumper albinos, and the raptors, of course. I love the raptors with the red eyes. Just a beautiful gecko. We focused on those geckos for probably 4 or 5 years until we got into the Max Snows, and we started getting into the bell albinos as well. And with the bell albinos, I focused on, obviously, the radars with the red eyes. It was soon after that that we started getting some tan suns as well. And that's a trumper albino plus a carrot tail. And what that does, mixing those two geckos highlights the orange in the leopard gecko and also keeps the colors very clean. We worked with those groupings, sometimes called the classic morphs, for several years until then we got into enigmas. And boy, I tell you, when the enigmas came out, they were fantastic. Just beautiful colors. And we jumped on the bandwagon the year after they came out. Paid some big money for enigmas, loved the colors, mixed them with the oranges, and that orange just popped. It was amazing how these enigmas look. But if you know anything about leopard geckos, you know that that enigma gene is a deadly gene. It actually causes a neurological problem in the leopard geckos. Sometimes what they'll do is spin around in circles and what's called stargazing. They look up at the sky. And that was a real problem for us. So we worked with enigmas probably about 2 or 3 years, and then we started getting out of the enigmas completely. Even though we only had 1 or 2 babies that showed those symptoms, it was just too much for me to be able to sell these animals at shows and online and explain this problem that the enigmas had. It was just hard to do that. This takes us to about 2014, 2015, 2016, and we started producing a lot of leopard geckos. During those years, we probably produced about 300 to 350 babies every single year. We were doing great, selling lots of animals at shows, selling lots of animals online. It was really a fun business to be in. But that was it. It was a business. I was looking at new morphs, trying to add to the leopard gecko stock at Supreme Gecko, but producing 350 babies a year became a business, and it was no longer a hobby, and that's what I really drive for, is to keep that passion going with our geckos. So in 2017 and 2018, we didn't produce a single leopard gecko baby. Why is that? Was it burnout? It wasn't really burnout. I just had a lot of commitments at work, and because of that, I spent probably 80 hours a week at work. And doing that really made it difficult to keep track of the breeders, the babies, doing shows, keeping up with the website. It was just too much. My wife took care of the animals as best as she possibly could for those 2 years, but we produced no leopard gecko babies during that time. So let's jump to 2019. I got back into the geckos. I actually retired from work and I got back into doing the things that I really love. And that's working with the animals that I had a passion about. So for leopard geckos, I got back into breeding the leopard geckos in 2019 and really enjoyed myself. I actually limited the amount of geckos that I was breeding down to about 12 to 15, about 15 breeding females, and that was it. So in 2019, I was working with carrot tails, tan suns, and trumper albinos, especially the raptors. We produced in 2019 about 30 babies, and that was it. That's a huge difference from the 300 to 350 babies we were producing back just a few short years ago. So this leads us to 2020, our current year, and some of the plans that we have. I'll continue working with the animals that we have, the 15 females and their males. I'd also like to probably add 1 or 2 breeding groups to our breeding leopard geckos, but not that many more. I really like the size that I'm maintaining right now in our stock of leopard geckos, and I'm comfortable with that, and I'm comfortable with producing probably around 60 to 75 babies this year, and that's going to be about it. Our focus really isn't currently on leopard geckos. Our focus is on crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, isopods, and especially more rare gecko. You know, there's really some wonderful breeders in the Illinois-Wisconsin area breeding leopard geckos and doing a fantastic job. And I'm not out to compete with them whatsoever. What I'm hoping to do is just enjoy breeding leopard geckos and improving the colors in our lines. One of those breeders is Gary Orner from Orner's Exotic. He's doing some fantastic things with leopard geckos. Just got back into the hobby about a year and a half ago and doing some amazing things. I love talking to Miles from Impeccable Geckos. He has some amazing geckos as well. I've known Miles for years and years, and it's just fun seeing him really produce some amazing animals. And last but not least is Heidi. She's doing some amazing things with some geckos that I really love. I might be looking at some of her leopard geckos and maybe adding a pair from her stock. Beautiful animals. As I mentioned, I only produced about 30 animals last year. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few of those animals right now. Before we jump over to those babies, let's take a look at this adult and let's see if we can get a feeding response from this one. Did you leave a comment below to let me know what you think this morph is? If you haven't already, go ahead and leave that comment. I'm going to throw another dubia in here. Let's see if she notices. There she goes. These dubias are just the perfect size for her. She loves her dubias. Stop playing with your food. This next leopard gecko is a blazing blizzard. Love the colors on these. Beautiful, perfect black eyes. Let's get a look at this. Go look at those eyes. Be interesting if this shows nicely on this black and white checkerboard. Look at those colors. Let's take another look at another animal. This animal is a carrot tail. I love working with the carrot tails. They just have beautiful colors. And what we're trying to do is obviously get that carrot tail all the way through the tail. So this one has a little bit more color to go. Let me see if I can hold it right here in position. This one has a little bit more color to develop as it gets older. And I just can't wait to see this as it matures. But simply a beautiful animal, I think. Let's look at another. This animal is from, again, our Tan Sun line. And you'll see that this one has some really nice colors as well. If you don't know by now, I love the orange. And look at that tail. It actually has a stripe going down the back. So this will be a fun animal to work with. Hey, before we go, I want to thank you again for watching this video. I really had a good time showing off these geckos and talking about our history. Make sure that you hit that like below if you like this video, subscribe, and make sure you hit that notify all so you get a chance to see our videos in the future. Thanks again for watching.